What a time we're living in. What a time we're living in. It's nasty, it's wicked, it's oppressive, and at the same time, it's beautiful. You know, it reminds me of a poem that we did in school. And maybe Collision can remind me of that poem about it was the time of this and it was the time of that. And you know the poem? I'm going to look for it. But it reminds me that, you know, on the one hand, you drive through Jamaica and you say, what a beautiful country. What a lovely place. And if only it's going to come off your lips immediately because there's just so many things happening. So it's beautiful, and at the same time, the conundrum is that we are going through what we're going through. I want to say a special good afternoon to the teachers. I want to say a very special good afternoon to the teachers. And I'm going to take it from the top again because I have a song for Andrew and him brethren them, for Nigel, who's prancing and dancing in Parliament when he's supposed to be giving the budget debate, the financial report to the people. I have a song for Andrew, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, for Nigel, the Finance Minister, and for Favour, the Minister of Education. Can we take it from the top? This is what prosperity looks like. It is not even their own word. It comes from the World Economic Forum. Then just throw it round and play with it and dance round with it. And here we are. It's a white squall situation. Favour, the Ministry of Education, has threatened and is threatening the teachers. Now, in a country where protest is forbidden, because this is basically where we are now, it means that we're getting to a position of dictatorship. And I understand, and I do hope that Jamaican people understand what's happening. Because I don't know if you're paying attention, but you need to focus. Because there is a bulletin that has been sent to the schools, that has been sent to teachers, that has been sent to school boards, which really, the long and short of this bulletin is that after teachers in Jamaica stood up for their rights and rejected, through protest and other means, the offer, you're talking about salary negotiation, wage negotiation from the government of Jamaica. The government has turned around and has threatened the livelihood of these teachers. This is egregious. This is insidious. This is wickedness at the highest level. We stand with the teachers. I do not speak for IRFM, as we take it from the top. I do not speak for IRFM. I speak for myself. I stand with the teachers. We find ourselves with our backs against the wall, and when our backs are against the wall, we will shoot back. We will fight back. We will push back. This is where you have us, with our backs against the wall. Poverty and hunger don't blend. Poverty and stress don't blend. Poverty and crime and violence don't blend. And when our teachers have to go to a battlefield, when our teachers have to go to war every single day, they've got to put on the armor, literally, to go to the classroom. Because our female teachers in particular, male and female, because we see them beating up deans of discipline and we see what's happening in the classroom. And I know we talk about the students. We must talk about the students. I've said that all the time. We've been talking about the students forever. It's two separate issues, you know. The teachers and our female teachers are now coming under battlefield situation. So there's post-traumatic stress disorder among our teachers. They're afraid to go to school. Our female teachers tell me that a lot of them are being verbally harassed by students, sexually verbally harassed by students, that a lot of them are being touched, but a lot of them are afraid to walk by themselves on the corridors. And then when they get home, they can't take care of their own. They can't afford food on the table. The teachers are asking for a livable wage, and that is why they stood up even against their union, the JTA. Now, this is very, very serious. What has the government do? What has the government done? Under a woman, the Minister of Education is a woman. But look at the letter that was sent out today, signed by a woman. It's a threat to the teachers. the boards of the schools are asked to put measures in place immediately to get sick leave in for people who had stopped, to cut salaries, it's a whole slew of things. And I have it here, I think I'll read it, or parts of it before the early afternoon is out. So this is ridiculous. This is madness. That, I spoke to a father last night, and he was also in the studio with me on Sunday, about what's happening to him after he was kicked out of Little Duns River, and we're not hearing anything else because Little Duns River lockdown, etc., etc. He said, government are broke we down, but the question is, broke we down for what? Broke we down for what? And this is what I'm asking you, Andrew Holness. What are you breaking down the people for? This is what I'm asking you, Favour Williams. What are you breaking down the teachers for? May I tell you? We're back with you inside of the Stepping Razor. The team is here. Collision is still in the house, and the Collision is in the house for a reason, you see, because he knows that there are two things I need to do. One is that I have to find Protege, which I don't work with. And obviously we had to play Sugar. So Collision is hanging out, and we're very happy that he's still here because he's ensuring that we have the right music. And of course, the producer this afternoon is Shamara Francis. So anytime and every time, it's always good to hang out with the team inside of the Africa Forum. Inside of the Stepping Razor. So Muta is going to be back with us next week. He'll be back for the Cutting Edge next week, Wednesday, and of course with inside of a studio for the Stepping Razor, inside of his home studio for the Stepping Razor. Protege. We want to play a Protege because, you see, with everything that's happening, and we talked to you about the Ministry of Education and what the Ministry of Education is up to. The Ministry of Education has now threatened the teachers who protested, who voted against the government's wage offer yesterday. They are properly threatened. Have you spoken to any teacher? Shamara? Teachers are afraid, right? Collision? Teachers are afraid, right? The teachers are afraid. The teachers used to be afraid of just being in the warlike environment, which is a school. No, the teachers afraid of the government. They're not how that all go. Do you understand that level of fear? I spoke to some teachers this morning, and what I hear, it made me weak. It made me weak. The teachers are secreting all kinds of hormones. I have to be saying to teachers, take a deep breath. Just chill for a minute. Hug a tree. Right now, I'll talk foolishness because the teachers are afraid of just existing in a violent country, working in a violent environment, and now they're afraid of the government. They're afraid of the government. It is a shame. All right, you're inside of the Stepping Razor. We're going through until 2 o'clock. I have in my hand, a copy of one of the school's bulletins sent out by the Ministry of Education. It's under the Ministry of Education seal. It's being widely reported right here on IRFM and all major media houses. But basically it says, dear colleagues, the Ministry of Education and Youth is aware of the actions being taken by some teachers, and in light of the unsettled wage negotiations, these sit-ins go slow, abnormally high percentage of absence all at once, as well as demonstrations during the workday. These actions have resulted in students being denied of their learning opportunities, being barred from accessing the school's premises, and being further exposed to danger due to lack of supervision during the scheduled period of learning. The ministry has not been formally advised by the Jamaica Teachers Association of any industrial actions being taken by the union, which is accommodated in the labour laws. Where this is done, the ministry will be afforded the opportunity to guide parents and students, thereby ensuring continued learning in the remote or virtual environment, as well as to ensure the safety of students. Therefore, the recent conduct of some teachers is of concern and requires immediate administrative oversight guided by the education regulations of 1980. You know what I mean? That is a threat. The whole thing is a threat. One teacher told me that when she saw it, she immediately, her body went into convulsions. She immediately began to shake. The teachers are now afraid of the government. A democracy must enable and must be prepared for protest. And especially a situation like Jamaica, where nobody listens, where you have a level of corruption that so much money could be siphoned off from the Ministry of Education, and that there is an ongoing case in court now with a former Minister of Education that involved the CMU. That a situation like Petrojam could occur. That ongoing corruption, nastiness on the island, so much money going down the drain, that you and your friend them are the richest around town, that you live uptown, that you're driving, you want to own 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vehicles, that you have homes in every parish and then some and overseas, that you have used our monies to fatten yourselves, that all of you now have big bellies, and the teachers are barely existing on salaries just a little teeny bit above minimum wage. What is the government telling the teachers today? What is the government telling the teachers today? The government is saying to the teachers, this is a letter, board chairmen of schools are being asked to ensure that school administrators take the necessary steps to ensure that the proper documentation of leave taken by teachers during the period of disruption since the week of March 1, 2023 is completed and that the relevant records adjusted accordingly. In so doing, please be guided by the following regulations in order to ensure the smooth operations of schools and that the proper documents are provided. I'll continue reading this because basically what some of that includes is that people are going to be losing money from their salaries for taking the day off. Because it's a reality. In a Jamaica, say your status or your salary. We're going to take a quick break. Listen. We stand with the teachers. We stand with the teachers. And as long as the teachers are afraid of the government, we are going to have to stand up for the teachers. Do you understand what I'm saying? We take a quick break. We're talking about that bulletin that the Ministry of Education sent to teachers, all teachers, that it has teachers shaking in their boots, literally afraid of the government. One of the regulations, Regulation 19, according to the bulletin from the Ministry of Education, it says a member of staff who is absent without leave and whose explanation of absence is unacceptable to the board through the principal may be liable to a loss of salary in respect of the says Regulation 662 according, and this is a bulletin from the Ministry of Education to the teachers today, Any application for sick leave for a period exceeding a total of 3 consecutive school days must be supported by a medical certificate. This is a long letter that the Ministry of Education, bulletin that the Ministry of Education has sent to the teachers. Do you understand what's happening? The bulletin continues, application for casual leave shall be in writing addressed to the chairman of the board and forwarded through the principal, except in cases of emergencies. An application for casual leave shall be submitted to the principal before the date and time on which the leave is required, or if so, an application cannot be submitted in advance and it shall be submitted at as early as possible thereafter. All of this is just to scare the teachers, and it is a threat. I put it to you that the Ministry of Education is a threatening and already oppressed set of workers within the public sector here in Jamaica. The Ministry of Education is using its power to threaten the teachers. We must determine whether or not that is okay with all of us. How do you protest? When do you protest? How do you lift your voice? How do you raise your voice? How do you say that this is wrong? the teachers have been saying this is wrong for many, 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 many moons, you know. Many moons. And they have been asked to hold strain. Before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. And the teachers are being betrayed every single time. And this time, they stepped from within their union and they said, listen, we want a livable wage. Enough is enough already. And this is how they know how to do it. What's the ministry's response? To threaten the teachers. I say to you that if we do not take a stand on behalf of the teachers, on behalf of ourselves, then we would have failed, not just the teachers, but would have also failed Jamaica. News coming up in 2 minutes. And I'm going to go now to my special guests, Maxine Stowe in studio, and joining me on the phone lines in a minute, IFV, Ras IFV, founder and former chair of the Westmoreland Hemp and Ganja Association, and former member of the Cannabis Licensing Authority. And then later on in this discussion, Dr. Jelani Nair, who is a lecturer in the Institute of Caribbean Studies at the University of the West Indies, where he coordinates Rastafari studies. He's also an embedded Rastafari scholar, internationally active, particularly within Jamaican Rastafari diasporas, as well as within the Caribbean and in Africa. His research interests include African religious retentions, Rastafari reparation for Africans, and reparation to Ethiopia. Jelani Nair is also a farmer and has recently completed his first solo-authored book, Lamb is Bread. I don't have the book. Do you have the book, Maxine?
No, not as it.
Rastafari.
Lamb's bread?
Lamb's Bread, Rastafari and Ganja in Jamaica. It is to be published by the University of the West Indies Press. So we'll ask Jelani about that. He also hosted a program on another station looking specifically at Ganja Talk. And you yourself have done a series of discussion programs. And Maxine, one of the things too is that both of us, in the early days, when all the discussions were taking place regarding the possible decriminalization, we were out of the block, literally, talking about what the pitfalls could literally be, what the challenges might be, and where the opportunities lie. Right. Another person who was in the studio with us right throughout this, leading into the decriminalization, was Ras IFV. IFV, I'm sure you remember those days. Here you are. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, I do.
We looked at the strengths. We were doing SWOT analysis forever. And so I'm going to go to you first, Maxine. You said initially that Jamaica importing ganja from Canada, that you were not shocked. But why not shocked?
Well, on two levels.
Not hearing you too well. Let me see if maybe I don't have the right microphone on. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, on two levels, I was not shocked because I think from about 2018 or 19, they have been working on the what they call import-export regulations. Mm-hmm. So therefore, you understood, if you're working on these regulations, that you're developing policy for import-export. The fact that you did not legalize in Jamaica recreationally, and the major markets, that's linked to your previous quote-unquote illegal culture, but more than the illegal culture, your music culture, your merchandising culture has been established globally since the 70s. Yes. Right? And thinking about companies that are developing now, like cookies, when they went for investment, 70% of their value came from their merchandising, 30% from the actual ganja. So you understood where your culture or your brand, how significant that is going to be in trade.
So that's in part one now. So that all we understand what you're saying.
Your culture, your identity, how your red, gold, and green, your flowers that were part of, say, Nike Rasta line that has been there for decades. So you're saying
that there has been this appropriation, cultural appropriation
for decades.
For decades. And so that ganja was just going to be one in many.